The Nutcracker by Susan Jeffers. It was Christmas Eve at the Stahlbaum's house. Clara and her little brother Fritz were listening at the ballroom door, waiting for the party to begin. Everyone was dancing when the last guest arrived. "Godfather!" cried Clara, rushing back to greet him. Herr Drosselmeyer was not only Clara's godfather, but he was also a famous toy maker. He could make toys that moved and clocks that called the hours as sweetly as a nightingale. Herr Drosselmeyer brought presents for the children. He gave Fritz a box of toy soldiers. For Clara, there were 2 dolls, Harlequin and Columbine, who danced with each other. "I have another present," said Drosselmeyer. Fritz thought it was for him, but instead Clara's godfather handed her the prize of the evening, a wooden nutcracker. "I want you to take good care of him," Drosselmeyer said to Clara. "Not fair," shouted Fritz. "She has 3 presents." He grabbed the nutcracker from Clara and tossed him in the air. The nutcracker crashed to the floor and broke his head. "So what?" jeered Fritz. "It was an ugly thing." Fritz's father chastised him, while Herr Drosselmeyer bound Nutcracker's head with his handkerchief. Tenderly, Clara took Nutcracker into her arms. She put him under the Christmas tree. Outside in the street, the carriages waited. After a flurry of goodbyes, Fritz and Clara were sent up to bed. "But my Nutcracker is all alone," thought Clara, tiptoeing back downstairs. Holding Nutcracker close, she soon fell asleep. Herr Drosselmeyer slipped into the room and, using his hand, cast a bit of magic. Bong, bong, bong. The grandfather clock struck midnight. Clara stirred and rubbed her eyes. The Christmas tree was growing. Around her came a scampering of mice. They were gathering like an army to attack. Their ruler was the Mouse King, who had 7 heads and 7 crowns. Clara held Nutcracker and ran as fast as she could. Nutcracker leapt out of Clara's arms and had his sword at the ready. Fritz's toy soldiers took their battle positions. Swords flashed and cannons fired. Boom, boom, swing, swing, swing. Nutcracker fought bravely, but the Mouse King was stronger. "No!" cried Clara. "You shall not hurt him!" She pulled off her slipper and threw it with all her might at the Mouse King. With a hiss, the Mouse King sank to the floor. Gathering up their king, the mice dragged him away. From the shadows, Herr Drosselmeyer saw Clara's bravery. He raised his hand, and Nutcracker was transformed into a handsome prince. The prince bowed to Clara and placed the Mouse King's sparkling crown upon her head. "Come," said the prince. They walked through falling snowflakes to a waiting boat that flew them through the night. "Welcome to my kingdom," said the prince. "But where are we?" asked Clara. "You are in the land of sweets," said the sugar plum fairy, coming through the gates of the kingdom. "Welcome home, dear prince. We will have a party with many dances to celebrate your return." The sugar plum fairy led the prince and Clara to the seat of honor. The first dance was Tea from China. was the candy cane. And then Mother Ginger and her pensionnaires danced for them. At last, the Sugar Plum Fairy and her cavalier performed the most beautiful dance of all. They seemed lighter than air. Too soon, it was time to leave. homeward, Clara asked the prince, "Will I ever see you again?" The prince replied, "One day your courage and kind heart will be rewarded. Do not forget me." Clara knew in her heart that one day she would marry the prince, rule over the land of sweets with him, and live happily ever after.